It is recording, it just doesn't say it anymore. Welcome to the inaugural podcast of Carpool with Kris Poole. I am your host today, Kris Poole, and I have my inspiration, my muse for this entire Carpool with Kris Poole name for my podcast. I have with me fellow Toastmaster, co-member of Sheboygan Toastmasters with me, Mr. Larry Penke, IP1. Larry, welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you, Kris, for inviting me.
Absolutely. Now, to get the audience a little bit familiar of the purpose behind the name of this podcast. So I know that you've been in Toastmasters since about 2006. What prompted you to join Toastmasters? How did you get involved?
Well, it was where I did some, in the past, I was interested in doing things with radio, and we got to where you would present and then over the air. And it was the idea that not hearing anything was bad. That was dead air, supposedly. And it was the idea we had to fill that in. Well, I developed a habit of when I wasn't at their station and I was in conversations with people, I was still doing the talking at people rather than speaking with them. And what really brought this to light is when I was attending college part-time and I was still doing this and I wasn't really having conversations. And I was talking at people in class or talking at people, even my family, even my spouse. And it was just the idea of a friend was able to help me in 2005, around this time of year, and then was had as a guest to the Toastmasters Club in Sheboygan. And after a few visits, I joined that club, number 2121, on July of 2006.
Okay.
And it was just help, people being uh, myself realizing and then realizing too that this was a place where I could get some help in my particular assistance was needed.
All right. Good to know. So, in your entire Toastmasters journey, what officer roles have you held?
Every role I've held, and I've been president 3 times of the Sheboygan Club. And the first time we had 30 members, and I didn't know what I was doing. And the second time it was about 18 members or so. And yeah, and that. And then I was a dual member of Sheboygan 2121 and then Confident Voices. And at Confident Voices, I was sergeant at arms and, well, let's be club president twice, but I knew not consecutively. So a lot of the listeners might say, hope that wasn't consecutive, and it wasn't.
Very
But it
good.
was, but it's building on learning that. And that's what a lot of other new members, they might be, the sergeant at arms, or they might be, if someone wants to take notes, be the secretary or things like that.
Mhm.
There was a period where like for 4 years, I was the treasurer. And we currently have a treasurer that's, we don't even have to worry about that in the Sheboygan Club right now.
Yeah, Dave is a lot of fun. So, out of the 7 club officer roles, what has been your most favorite?
I like being this, a secretary or sergeant at arms. I'm learning to be a vice president of education, and that's what's it's, I need a challenge, and it is challenging, but it's the idea of using my experience that I have had in the clubs to help new people come in and to be a mentor for those other folks that are uh, visiting because they're looking online and finding out about the Sheboygan Club, and we can help them with that.
I love hearing that. Looking for a new challenge for yourself. I frequently hear other Toastmasters. How can you repeat a path? How can you repeat a speech? Why do you continue to stay? And I personally, I look for different ways to challenge myself. But part of why I stay to this day, and I've been a member almost 20 years now, I love investing my time in helping our newer members grow into the potential that they can become. I think that is such a wonderful opportunity for us as a seasoned Toastmaster to
Hmm.
be able to give back, help someone else like someone had helped us.
Yes. Paying it forward for those folks that paid it forward for us. Yeah. Hmm.
So, beyond the club, have you held district officer roles?
I've been a area director 3 different times. And what also helps is when our host was district director, then I was able to go with her to all these meetings and and learn from everybody in the district and people that are visiting us from other districts. And it was a way of expanding to where we can be beyond our area, but beyond our division, even beyond our district, and meet other Toastmasters and accompanying you with meetings and things like that. It was a expanding experience being the area director for that period of time.
Yes, I remember you followed me the year that I was area director. You came up the next year, and that was the year I was our District 35 Club Growth Director. And at that time, pre COVID, we got to travel to all
Mm,
of the different deck meetings. And they had organized it so every month the deck meeting was in a different division in our
mm,
state. So we
mm.
traveled. It was always nice when it was here in Eastern Division, not much of a trek there. But I
Yeah.
remember we went down to Madison, Eau Claire, Milwaukee area, Green Bay. We went all around. I think that time when we started driving together, that was our carpool Kris pool because I loved to drive at that time. That was a turning point for me in our relationship.
Hmm.
Because again, I learned from you, you learned from me, and it went beyond just simply Toastmasters.
Hmm.
What are some of your favorite memories with that carpool time?
Well, if we behave, whoever rode with you and me, we went for ice cream before we went home.
And shh,
Or
don't tell your wife.
no, 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 it's the idea. And it was, you'd find these out of the way places, but it was also sharing with another person that was traveling with us. But it's the idea that you could have a conversation. So that way, again, it was good practice for me to converse with people so that when we did reach the deck meeting, the district executive committee meetings, that I was keyed up or I was ready to listen to the other person, not just responding to what I wanted to respond to what they said, but really take in what they're saying and learning new ideas. And then we could share that and after the meeting and kind of like, what can we do to bring back to our division or to our area or to our club? But we learned there.
I
So in
love
those
that.
miles of traveling.
Yes. Yeah, I love that back and forth in the brainstorming because what works in one location, one club, one area may not necessarily work in ours. But if we change it up a little bit, tweak it a little bit, we can make it work. So that was always a lot of fun. And I'm glad to hear that you have lost your accent of Elmer Fudd. It's
Yes.
Wabbit season. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, just to back up a little bit, where my older sister didn't speak very much. until I started speaking.
Didn't want
And
to get shown
she,
up.
yeah, oh, she was my first evaluator when it comes down to that. And in first grade, I would pronounce the R's like W's, wascally wabbit, or woes. It's a woes that, rather than a rose. And that was good. If later in life, when I was working at radio stations, we always started with a W, not an R. But but I was kind of teased a little bit. You sound like that cartoon hunter on TV. But that was able to help with that. And there's some other things that helped with as far as being able to speak. The radio and the broadcasting helped, but it's really the communication, the two-way communication is what has really been something for me for Toastmasters, is where you get to hear stories. And recently we were able to, at a club meeting, review some of the world championship. And this is the international contest that people from around the world can participate in. And it's where we'll really have the people that are finalists and how they have really honed their skill to get their passion and their message across.
Hey, I like that. I want to thank you, Larry, for participating in this inaugural podcast, Carpool with Kris Pool. We will have to wait and see who my next passengers are in the seat, in the hot seat. There we go, in the hot seat. Because I remember when we would frequently travel, you and Robin Grabinski, she was our admin manager at the time, she would ask so nicely, Kris, can you please ask your husband if we can take his car? Because he had those heated seats and she loved it.
And I mentioned that to Ann, my wife, and we made sure our next car has the heated seats. And the both, like within this past week, I've accidentally turned them on. And what's warm here? And then look down, Larry. You turned on the seat.
Yeah. Did you get the
So
heated steering wheel also?
no, no.
Okay. All right.
But but that way, if my back's starting to hurt, then I know I can turn it on low.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again so much, Larry. And we will see you at our next Sheboygan meeting. And if any of our listeners would like to join us, Sheboygan Toastmasters, we meet on the first and the third Monday of every month. We are a hybrid club, and you can join us in person or online. We have details on our club website, which is 2121.toastmastersclubs.org. And I'll put that website and the information into the comments section when I post the video. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you again, Larry.
Yes.
Good night, Toastmasters. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Drive safe. Bye. All right. So now I want to stop recording. I did not